Okay guys, I'm Wanamisi Kasirani. I'm from Kenya. I'm a blogger and a YouTuber. I have been off from blogging for a while, and most of the times I've found myself doing more vlogging. So I basically share my experience in form of solutions, because I believe if it takes me 50 years to get somewhere, it should take the person behind me half the time or less, because I have had the experience. So if I share my experience with them in form of solutions, it would be easier for them. So I'm a member of Afrobloggers community, and I have benefited from their fellowship, and just being in that group gives you the it gives you the vibe of working on your creativity and being that content creator you've always wanted to be. So let me go back to today's topic. First of all, I feel so honored being among the panelists that are going to be running these discussions. I don't have big titles, but I have the experience because I'm a content creator, and I have struggled with imposter syndrome and self-doubt for a very long time since I started. So I'm sharing my story of how I started my YouTube channel so that I can capture the concept of imposter syndrome. So what made me start my YouTube channel is I used to watch a certain podcast by the name Honest TikTok. It was a talk of 3 Muslim women from different communities, from different countries and different races. They came together and they were taking tea or coffee, and as they were doing that, they were always discussing something that we needed to hear. They were honest and raw in their conversations. So for me, that was really attractive. And I said I wanted an honest TikTok version of someone from my community, my ethnicity. Like I just wanted someone, the people who are doing the honesty were people from abroad, yeah? So I wanted an honest TikTok version of someone from my community, from my local community, and a Muslim woman as well. So I shared this idea with my friends, and my friends supported me to start. But then I kept on asking my friends one question. Do you guys think that I can do this? Do you really think I have the knowledge of starting off? Because I felt like I didn't have enough knowledge to sit in front of the camera and teach people or talk honestly about the avoided topics in our community. Yeah, so self-doubt came in and imposter syndrome came in as well. And my friends played a big role in telling me that you can do this. And I was like, is it right for me? Because I also wanted to make sure that my faith was catered in whatever I was doing. So I asked myself, is it right for me as a Muslim woman to do this? So my friends were like, the only way you can get the answer is if you ask the scholars. So don't stop yourself from doing something just because you think you might not be legible to do this. Ask the scholars. So I went on asking scholars, and they were like, yeah, this is something you can do, and this is something our community really needs, because we need role models from our own ethnicity. So I started my YouTube channel on a condition that one of my friends was supposed to start off with me. So she started off with me, and she said, whenever you are ready to stand on your own, I'm going to leave you on this journey and you'll have to go on. So my friends supported me in buying for me a stand, buying for me the ring light, and they were like, we want you to do this. So my friend used to come over to my home, and we used to film a series of videos, and then she would go back to her home. Yeah. But still, as we were doing the research, there were some topics that were so, like, they looked so unaddressed in our community, to an extent of us feeling like we were not good enough. For example, the aspect of giving our stories on depression, because we wanted people to have to feel that there's someone who is vulnerable about being depressed and having experienced it. So it was hard to share some of these personal stories, but the goal of our channel was to show this vulnerability from a person of our ethnicity. So we kept on rolling with the ball until it came to a point where we didn't fear anymore. Yeah, so we started getting feedback from people, even though we felt like we were not experts while we were sharing the content. People were saying like, I'm so glad I saw your video. I have really benefited from your video. I really needed this, such kind of comments. They make you feel like, I never thought this was that big for anyone, but here somebody is appreciating my work to this level. At the same time, we had people who were bringing us down, and they came with negative comments, and sometimes they made it harder for us to fight the self-doubt and the imposter syndrome. So it was our decision to make. Were we going to focus on the comments for us to go on? Yeah, so based on the stories, some of the things I want to illustrate, first of all, I want to talk about some of the things that can contribute to imposter syndrome and self-doubt. And one of them is having a cycle that keeps reminding you that you're not good enough, and they keep feeding you with negative comments. So these are people who are going to instill self-doubt in you. And another way you can acquire self-doubt is starting to compare yourself with other people, thinking that, oh, so-and-so is so perfect, they are content creators and they speak so fluently, they are so eloquent, they are smart, they have these gadgets, so will people listen to me? We had those kind of thoughts too. We used to struggle to organize the background, because we wanted our video qualities to be smart. Even the way we dressed, we wanted people to see the best image of us. So one of the things that can instill self-doubt that I noticed is comparing ourselves. Yeah, and the other thing is us. We are the biggest barrier to our own abilities and our own potentials. So coming to the solutions of how we can curb imposter syndrome and self-doubt, one of them is investing in ourselves. I realized that comments will be in two ways. We're going to have negative comments, we're going to have good comments. So if we rely on comments for us to proceed with our work as content creators, then we might not be going on this journey for a long time, because we cannot control how people perceive our work. So if we rely on comments, whether good or bad comments, it is not the best way of handling this. The best way is to invest in developing ourselves, listening to success stories of other people who went from zero to hero. Reading those books of self-empowerment is going to get to a point where you face self-doubt or imposter syndrome, but you know how to react, how to be proactive about it, instead of you blocking opportunities for yourself just because you feel like you're not good enough to do something. So self-investment is something that is really, really important. And something that has helped me is reading self-development books. Yeah, so another solution is our circles. We really need to surround ourselves with people who know our journey as content creators. Join communities like Afrobloggers community or any other community that gives you a space where you share something common with other people. Like these people know what you're experiencing, like what Paulette was talking about, like looking at her story and listening to her, I feel like I'm not alone in this, yeah? So it gives me the feeling of I can do this. Listening to the story of Beaton, blogging for 10 years gives me that inspiration that I can also do this. If it took Beaton this long to get to being recognized by the search engines, then it means it's possible for me. So one way for us to counter imposter syndrome is to surround ourselves with people who share the same goal, who share the same journey, which is communities of content creators. Another way is also having a support system of friends who support your journey, friends who give you genuine comments, because you cannot always be right based on what you do. Sometimes you're going to be wrong, and you need people who are going to remind you, and people who are going to remind you to stay on track, to stay on your goals, and people who are going to remind you that you have the potential no matter how much you doubt yourselves. Because let's face it, sometimes we need that encouragement from people, no matter how self-developed we are. Sometimes we need that affirmation from the closest people we have. The last thing we can use to be proactive about imposter syndrome and self-doubt is affirmations. In the last few weeks, I had a presentation in the Mining and Innovation Forum in Nairobi here in Kenya. And before the presentation, I was a bit tensed because I was going to stand in front of big people, big names in our country. So I remember picking something from the last Afroblogger fellowship. I remember there's somebody who talked about having morning affirmations, reminding yourself that you're good enough, reminding yourself that you can do this, reminding yourself that. So I took a break before the presentation. I went to the washroom and I looked in front of the mirror. I told myself, you can do this. You are good enough to do this. You are brilliant. You are confident. You are smart. I kept on telling myself these affirmations. And when I went to do that presentation, I could see how I had captured the attention of people. And afterwards, I had people commenting on how my presentation was powerful. So the last thing, and the thing that is so important, is how we talk to ourselves. Because this imposter syndrome and self-doubt, these are things that we keep on visiting. So we have to learn to talk to ourselves, to talk to that inner child inside of us, and reaffirm them that it's okay. I know you are scared, but I know you can do this. I know you are powerful. I know you're brilliant. Yeah, so basically that has been my journey in content creation, and self-doubt keeps on visiting. It never stops. Even when you want to address a certain, you want to do another playlist, or you want to upload another video on YouTube, it comes, that voice comes and asks you, do you think you can do this? Even when I was appointed to do this presentation, that voice came and it was asking me, are you good enough to do this? Like, those doubts are always going to be there, but those affirmations have to come in handy so that we can keep reminding ourselves that we are good enough, we are powerful, and we are capable of doing whatever we want to do in this life. So that is it, guys. Thank you so much for for giving me this opportunity to talk about self-doubt to fellow content creators. I'm looking forward to interacting with each one of you. I'm interested in knowing where you come from. It's interesting interacting with people who are from different backgrounds than you. So that is it from me. Thank you so much, Beaton, for this platform, and thank you so much for keeping on pushing me to achieve my highest potential. Thank you, everyone, and bye.